So Errol Spence, he says that he should be coming back soon, February, March, in a big fight. So let's talk real quick about who's this potential big fight that Errol Spence is talking about. Because he also tweeted in the past that um, real champions, this is not a quote, this is something he said. I don't remember exactly his words, but he said, real champions don't take tune-ups. So it's clear that Errol Spence is looking to jump right back into the fire. The question is, who is it? So let me run down the potential opponents. We got Sean Porter. No, he's knocked off. Scratch him off. He's knocked off the list. He's already retired, and he lost the fight with Bud. You got Jerron Boots Ennis. I don't see that happening. And they had some slight words back and forth over the internet, but nothing that's really catching any traction, at least for right now. Terrence Crawford? No, I don't think that's going to be next. Most of us want to see that fight next, but unfortunately, and I'm not even talking about the politics side. As far as Errol Spence being ready to go, meaning his body and stuff like that is running in tip top shape, and he sharpened his skills a little bit. If he don't do that, man, I think he gonna have an issue. He might lose that fight to Crawford. So he has to sharpen his skills. I think he should take maybe a Keith Thurman. Is Keith Thurman the next big fight? I doubt that's gonna happen because I don't think Errol's gonna give him the chance to fight him. So if I'm concerned about Errol going into a fight with Bud not being 100%, then why, who could Errol be fighting that he claims is not a tune-up that's probably just as dangerous as Bud? Now, that person, I think he's going to fight Virgil Ortiz Jr. That's who I think Errol Spence's next opponent is. When you think about it, Mikey Garcia and Errol, they did numbers pretty decent, pay-per-view numbers. I hate talking about pay-per-view numbers, but I'm going to just, briefly touch on it. They did great numbers. Mikey Garcia, he got the Mexican fan base. Errol Spence got all, the Dallas heads loving him. He's a native of Dallas. Texas is right next to Mexico. So it's a no-brainer that fight was going to be big. Virgil Ortiz, he's from Mexico. He's from Texas. He's of Mexican descent. He has a Mexican fan base as well. They loyal. Errol, also native of Texas. He has a fan base of black folks. Black American. So that fight is going to be huge. Well, in terms of it being bigger than a Garcia fight, I think it would be much bigger. So I think that's what's coming. I think his next fight will be Virgil Ortiz because he said he don't want to jump into a tune-up, and then Virgil is not a tune-up. And then I think after Virgil will probably be Terrence Crawford. We might get one more before that. I think if Errol's fighting February or March, it would be wise for Errol to fight 3 times, man. I see 3 fights coming for Errol this year, coming up. I see Virgil Ortiz. This is who I think is Errol's next 3 opponents. Because you remember Errol say he had, how many fights he say he had left? 2 or 3 at 147. So I think his next opponents are going to be Virgil Ortiz Jr., then after Virgil Ortiz, it'll probably be it will probably be Yordenis Ugas. If Bud ain't already fought him, it'll be Yordenis Ugas, and then I think the Terrence Crawford fight. I think that's how it's gonna go. I think Terrence Crawford fight is gonna be the end of the year around this time, November, October, November of 2022, we should be seeing Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford. Hopefully, that's a big hopefully. Okay, was it we know a lot of people believe Errol Spence is afraid of Bud, but then also more realistically, man, there's other people that's probably going to try to stop Errol from taking that fight. His promoters, whoever, Al Heyman. I don't know, but I think that's Errol Spence's next three opponents. I think his last three opponents at welterweight is going to be Virgil Ortiz, Yordenis Ugas, and Terrence Crawford. I think that's it for Errol right there at 147. I think whatever way it goes, because he fight Bud. If he get the Ugas fight and Bud don't, then Errol's gonna go in the fight with 3 belts against Bud. So it's gonna raise his bargaining. It's gonna raise his stock a bit. So we'll see how that turns out. But that is what I think is gonna happen. I think since just going by Errol saying he's not taking a tune-up his next fight, and his next fight is quote-unquote big, I see it being Virgil Ortiz. It might even be Jerron Boots Ennis. We don't know. I doubt it's Boots. It might be Boots. I'm gonna have to put Boots and Virgil. I'm gonna put a slash through both of them as being Errol's next opponent. But I'm more leaning towards Virgil Ortiz. And then after that, however, Ugas should have been already fought Stanionis by then. And likely Ugas should beat Stanionis and keep his belt. And then Errol will get a chance to go head up with Ugas and potentially take Ugas' belt. But Ugas ain't a pushover, man. A lot of people think Ugas is the weakest link. I think Errol can beat Ugas, but nonetheless, Ugas is a tough cookie, man. He's a dog. So we should see. And then I think after Errol get that third belt, then he'll be going into the Terrence Crawford fight. But who knows? It might go a different way. It might be Terrence Crawford. We don't know who he's fighting next. There's potential. Keith Thurman's calling him out. He might fight Keith Thurman. He might knock Keith Thurman off around the same time in the summertime, May or something like that. So that's why I said Errol, he needed to fight earlier this year, then fight in the summertime, and then fight close to the winter, like close to now. So that'll be dope because you have Bud fighting in the summer against Thurman, and Errol Spence fighting in the summer against Yordenis Ugas. And then after that, Errol done already fought Ugas and got the belt off of him if he wins. Bud already beat Keith Thurman, retained his title, and now we're going into Undisputed for 147 towards the end of 2022. That's just what I think. Let me know what you think. Drop a comment, like, subscribe. Catch y'all later on the next one.